I'm gonna bring her back on what she had on. I gotta bring her back. All right, y'all. Y'all better be taking notes. Oh, I did her at wrong. I put an underscore in there. It's not.
We back. The reason why I was gonna say, should I wait for her to get on or should
She on. She was the first one on.
Oh, okay.
Right now.
The reason why I was gonna say I disagree with that because genetically,
Okay.
because genetically we dominate the planet. Period.
But I think that's what she. I think that's what she. From what I hear, it not to cut you, but when I hear when she's saying that we are the source, even though she didn't say it that way, how I'm translating in my head, we are the source. So in some regards, we are the same because we birthed them. We are.
But they didn't come from us genetically. Like how you would meet a black man and have a kid, they didn't come through us like that. And the reason, and people try to use albinism as an excuse, and they can't do that neither because I have albinos in my family, and they have an albino son that's white, got the woolly hair that's gold, but they got a brown skinned son that got the tight woolly. So I'm like, with that. But this is the reason why I say I disagree because our bone density is different than everybody's on the planet.
Well, I think all of our shit is different than everybody else. So we don't want to rejuvenate ourselves.
There you go. And our blood molecule.
That's why they say
the center of our blood molecule is the strongest conductor in the universe. It's called selenium. The blood molecule at the center of everyone else's blood is sulfur. That is the weakest conductor in the universe.
And it's flammable to blow up quick.
That's why when I see black women putting things with sulfur in their hair, I'm like, oh, why are you doing that? That is causing brain cancers, which is the cancer starting the brain.
Yeah, not even trying to be funny, but you know, I'm being so serious right now. You know, sulfur 8 is good if you got like dry scalp.
Don't use that.
Okay. I'm just saying.
Use sea moss conditioner.
Sea moss, no more sulfur 8.
Sea moss.
You know, I'm cmosswoman@gmail.com. And
I knew I liked this lady right here.
I've been CMOS since there was AOL.
I got CMOS toothpaste.
Look here, since they had AOL.
Stuff, my shit won't grow though, but you mean.
Yeah, I was CMOSwoman@AOL.com.
Oh, I'm gonna buy off you. I got CMOS watermelon soap, CMOS toothpaste, CMOS conditioner, CMOS everything.
Well, let me just say this about what you were saying, dear son. They do have differences. And the reason why they have differences is still saying the same thing, is that our ancestors who were etheric, who didn't come into the physical, what they did was...
Don't go to that yet. Don't go to that yet. I wanted to answer somebody's question real quick. They asked me what a Caucasian, the scientific name of a Caucasian is. If you go back to the comic books back in the day, you'll see that it was a comic book called Troglodyte Nigger. A troglodyte nigger is a Caucasian. Troglodyte. TRGLODYTENIGGER. It's a monkey. What is in their blood? RH factor. RH factor. That's Neanderthal. That's a troglodyte nigger. That is an ape. We don't have that. We come from O positive. Now, if the scientific experiment didn't happen, which they say the Yakub myth is, we would never have Spanish people, Puerto Ricans, Asians, none of that. Arabs, Palestinians, Assyrians, Persians, Greeks, Romans, it would be none of them. This whole planet would be black. That's a fact. Scientifically, that's a fact. Remember that website back in the day, Black Planet? You think they took that down because they took that down because of the name? I'm telling you.
Well, the plot thickens because regardless, when the starburst, what we're calling sun, you're looking at the fact that we had, those were our etheric parents. Okay.
Notice she said Starburst, y'all. Isn't
Right.
that a candy?
Yes, it is. Exactly.
Okay, go ahead.
Same way
Keep
they
going.
named candies after the Milky Way.
Symbolism.
Yes, exactly. A lot of it.
Remember the
And-
TV?
and
Remember
same-
the TV back in the day, Zenith?
Well, also when we say enlightenment, enlightenment is another way to call on Enlil, which is the son of Anu, who was fighting with his brother Inky. The same way when you wear Nike sneakers, Nike
Woof.
Inky.
There's woof.
Right. So when you look at
He's dealing
enlightenment,
with a sickle, right? He used
Mhm.
a sickle. Yeah, I know what I'm talking about. See, you
Right.
smart.
right, and also the offerings that were made. You know, one, and this is when you had the fight between the farmer and the herder. You know, the meat
Remember-
eater versus the vegetarian. That was
Remember
going
you
on
was
for a
talking
long
about
time.
Saturn earlier?
Mhm.
Remember the wars and shit? What was this? Thanos and what was the other one? What's the other Saturn deity?
Well,
What's his name? Kronos.
right. Well, you see, the
Those
thing
the wars
is,
that's going on.
you know, growing up, one thing that my father from Panama would say is you change the name, you change the game. Because then you don't know what's going on because the name changed.
Mhm.
So it appears that the game changed too. So when you have Aset and then you have ISIS, you have
Aset means
Marduk,
the throne.
right? But the name's changing so much, so you don't know who is who. Then you say Nibiru, then you say Marduk.
Mm.
So
Shit.
and none of us have lived over 200 years on the planet.
No.
So why are we really studying history? Because whatever is written, somebody else wrote it and we can't validate it.
I said that on Facebook,
So-
I got blocked. I said that on Facebook, I got blocked for 30 days. I said exactly what you said on Facebook, I got blocked for 30 days.
You see, this is when I was stating
Are you
that.
my long lost mom?
Say it again.
Are you my long lost mom?
Well,
Like,
you
real
have to
shit.
ask Mbele that because Mbele is over me. So she knows who I am too.
Okay.
But you know, I'm an avatar. I'm here representing those that are ancient.
Did
And
that movie come out?
I only do as I'm told.
Wasn't it a movie that came out not too long ago called Avatar?
Yes, and you see, the thing is now,
Keep
now
talking.
on touch,
I like
now
that.
to touch on that, this is why I said to you that we were created by the Polarians. The Polarians, our etheric parents, they're blue. They're ethereal, but they are, that's why you see in a lot of the Indians, when they're according to their
You're
shrines and
going
their
too
gods,
far. They're not ready for that right now.
they paint
They
themselves
not ready
blue.
for that right now. I'm telling you, they not ready for the blue people shit. Because I'm telling you, I've been on that when I was like what was it, like 1999. I've been talking about that. People
Right.
said I was
So this
crazy.
is why, right. This is why
Our blood
when
is
you
blue
look
inside
at,
our body, right? Am I correct? Is
Say
our
it
blood
again.
blue inside of our body?
you know, however, we are, like I said, the first root race that the Etherians created.
Mimi said she ready.
And we lived here for quite many
That boy has some
years
legs. All right,
before the next root race was seated on this planet. And that was when there was a dimensional shift. So we lived here many years, yes. And
Stick a pin. This getting too crazy. Katie said Andromeda. Hold on. Andromeda from Guardians of the Galaxy is blue. Now listen. My daughter, Madge, just changed her name legally from the name I gave her to Andromeda.
And you know what's crazy? What color did Jay-Z just buy not too long ago? He owns the color. Blue.
well, so was Papa
What's his daughter's name?
Papa Smurf is blue.
Papa Smurf was blue and Smurfette
But
was
hold
blue.
up. What did Gargamel create to trick all of the Smurfs?
Now, I that's a long
female.
Yes,
Smurfette.
that's right. Yes.
She's not real. She's goo. What does that goo turn to when she go back to the young? Blue goo.
You smart.
What's that nasty ass hotel out West Philly?
Blue Moon! Blue Moon! Blue Moon! The Blue Moon! It's our 55th Master! 55th Master!
Right. So right now,
No, that shit at 52nd and Wyalusing.
Is it Wyalusing?
Yeah, down in near.
That's 54, 55th Wyalusing. But Master and Wyalusing right next to each
I
other.
just
Same
know you
neighborhood.
don't want to be near that motherfucker. Councilman Boy, what you doing around here? What are you doing around here? So you're in a nice car. You trying to pick up something. Get in the back of this building.
and that's why the so-called superstars named their daughter.
Andromeda.
They
Right.
talk about your deity energy. And I said, oh my God, my brother changed her name to that.
Andromeda.
And you see, this is why when you talk about the so-called superstars, right? That's why she named her daughter Blue.
Yeah.
I think $3 each.
And like the hottest flame, like as I deal with welding and all
Yes.
that shit too, the
Yes,
hottest
that's right.
flame is a blue flame. That's
Right.
the hottest fire it can get.
That's
when that
right.
shit start turning blue, it's melting everything. It's a
That's
wreck.
right. That's right.
That's great. That's blue ivy.
Right.
That's
And
exactly
so
what it is. The spark of life that happens inside of your womb too. You do know this. When you
Yes.
when your zinc meets, like when your zinc allows that little egg or little sperm cell to come through, it makes a spark on the screen. When you're looking at it, it's blue, and then the light goes back to white, and then the spectrum goes away.
because those
I watch
are
my kids be born, so you can see all that shit in the joint. You can see a little
so now we've just validated what we're talking about in
You're
reference
fucking
to the
star.
Polarians, about the Polarians seeding all of the races on this planet. The first race, which are the Hypergoreans, which are us. And we lived for a long, long time before the next root race came about, which was the next consciousness. And that was the Lumorians. See, each root race brought a certain consciousness. And that's why right now we're getting ready to have another one.
Which one is this though? Because this is the part where I get to when I start asking like some of the pseudo bulls that be on the internet, and I be asking this question: what part of the consciousness are we getting to? Because the highest dimension that we know, we study the Kabbalah, I think it's like 10 chakras that you can get to. You know what I mean? Because you got 6 in you, 1 above you, 7. You know what I'm saying? Because the one right here is purple. The one above your head, that's the one that controls all around you. And then you got the other ones.
It's 7 major chakras.
7 major, and then
Right.
the points, the Kabbalah, the shit that the Kardashians use to trick black men. They use the Kabbalah. Am I lying?
Well,
Remember,
you see,
anything
all
that
of it
deals
is
with
a
magic
trick.
is going to say Ka first.
All of it is a trick, and it is known, and that is even why Barney was purple.
I'm not fucking with y'all right now.
Royalty. And what
And
was
then
the
when you
gay
look at the
Teletubbies?
Teletubbies, and
The
when you
gay
watch
Teletubbies
the
was what
Teletubbies,
color?
all colors. Each one of them was
the
a color
gay
of the chakra.
Teletubby, the one that was gay that had the upside down triangle on his head. What color was that one? Purple.
See, so, and that's why the transgender community, they took to the color purple because they said that they were the highest form because they're the gatekeepers.
The gatekeepers, yep. And then
They're the
now,
gatekeepers to the spiritual world because they don't see themselves as being neither. They
now
say
you
they're
about to
they.
now you about to get into the history of why everybody hates on Philly. Philadelphia is the start, is where that black bootleg magic, all that shit started here by a black man named Henry Minton. Bill Cosby in it, Oprah in it, Puff in it, Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, Jay-Z, all of them are in this black bootleg gatekeeping society.
How I get my mission?
You don't want to be in no shit like that. If you can't cut a chicken and do like shit like that, like you know how people be doing, like my aunts and them used to be doing that shit, throw chicken in the pot, cut him, say some shit. Next thing you know, her dude, she ain't seen the nigga in 3 days, and then he walking in the grave. How she do that? How she do that? Oh, I ain't seen my son go in the kitchen, pot or some shit. That shit, these niggas, he come walking in the door. How she do that? What is that?
What I can say about all those people that you just named, they're not people.
Hey. So what are they?
The same thing, just like us. We're just energy.
Okay, I'm with you on that one.
And so we're fighting powers of principality. That's why there's an Mbele to do the spiritual work.
Mbele, she spiritually got me here.
Exactly. So she actually, what they said, she's an expression to keep things in balance and keep people in touch with the spiritual.
And that's why I focus on gas. Once again, that's why I focus on gas. Because mind you, we just said spiritual. What's the root word of spiritual? Spirit. Ritual.
That's right.
Spirit means breath, air, wind. All of those things is gas.
Right. And that's and that gas is,
we need to focus on gas. And hold on, one thing.
That's right.
Life is based upon 3 games. This is my little philosophy. I made this up in the crib, high as shit. Life is based upon 3 games if you play these games. Chess is one of them. Call of Duty is another one. And Grand Theft Auto. If you let your kids play these games, they will learn a lot of shit about life. Now, mind you, look at around the time when Trevor go and kidnap the bull Martin Madrazo wife. He kidnaps him. Look what she got on. This shit is pinkish purple, her outfit. He throws her in the trunk. And he says a little spiel to his homie Michael. This company, he said, this world is built for and by gas. Gasoline. That's what he said. And right outside of his little crib, it's a nice little table with a little huffer type thing on top of it. You go to that and you huff it, you go into a spell. But where do you go? You go up in the sky and you just be flying for a long ass time and shit. And if he's saying shit, you gotta listen to what it's saying in the joint. He's saying a lot of shit about astrotheological shit and shit in this realm. And then I started looking at what he said. Then it took me to the third eye. You see what I'm saying? One dude from Nigeria said you don't want to open your third eye. And I said this too, because I watched a cartoon called Dragon Ball motherfucking Z. And every time Goku wanted to go somewhere, what did he do? He touched his third eye. When he go like this, he be behind you. He be over there. He be in China. He come back, fuck you up. Look at Kendrick Lamar. When Kendrick Lamar is freestyling, he not sitting there rhyming, just rapping. He is rubbing his third eye while he's rapping. Go look at his shit when he freestyling. He going in his bag and all that shit. You know he coming off top, but all that shit is in unison and rhyming. I freestyle my damn self. Freestyle means you have to pre-think the words you're saying and then make it come out. And then people like, man, that shit sound like a written.
Well, that would be another thing for Mbele can see when people have those abilities with words. Well, then you know who they're working with.
They working with them spells up there. Them what they call it, Orisha, the Orishas. They're like if you look on the kings in Africa, they had the snake. That's why I say the woman is the most important thing in the. They got a snake on the top of their head, 2 cobras, right? Now pay attention to me. 2 cobras. Cobras have what? The biggest corpus callosum on the planet. As far as animals, That's the main part of your brain that can, if you look at the eye of Ra and that first eyelash up on top, that's yaw. That's the corpus callosum of a brain. The biggest corpus callosum in humans lies within a female. That's why y'all can compartmentalize, which means y'all can think in 5 different directions at one time. Men can't do that. When we watching the game, we watching the game. We not watching the kids, none of that. We watching the kids like this. Yo, what y'all doing? Yo. Oh, get him. Throw the ball to the cat. Yo, sit down. That's how we one track minded. You see what I'm saying? So this is, and then I look at the degeneration of a chromosome, which is the Y. Think about it. I have nipples. I have nipples. Nipples are for feeding. Nipples are for feeding.
That's
so
why
you
know
I have nipples that are rudimentary, which means I can't fucking use them.
That's right.
That makes no sense. That's why I just go right to the female. When everybody like, who God? I'll be like, my mom. Who did you know before your mom? Please tell me.
And you know something too? I learned I really represent and appreciate all those that say, you know, your mom, you know, but now, because we've been so removed, we need to just say water. We need to say water.
Water.
Because exactly, because even though, you know, it is the woman, well, or say your parents, but water is what gives us all life.
All life.
So really, our parents are water, and if once we start to respect the water, then we have a place to live.
Now, see, that's where we back to what I was saying. We need to take. Oh, thanks, bro. They the Stephen Curry's red, naughty, old red, black, and green though, because that's the African colors, and it got gold in the back. That's what we're supposed to be breathing and eating. We're supposed to eat gold. If you look on at these fancy restaurants in New York, what's wrapped on a chicken? Costs $1,000 a chicken wing. They got one for real. And you know that boy Salt Bae put the salt on the, you know what I mean, like this? He got a steak. Costs like $20,000. And it's wrapped in gold lace, like real gold.
Yeah, I've heard about that stuff like that too, yeah.
Why we not on that though? Like, think about it. Like, look at the food we eat if we do eat meat. We eat all of the animals that are punks. All of the animals that we eat are in fear. Cow, always in fear for his life. Chickens, they running around crazy trying to get away from black people. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
What else do we eat? It's beef, chicken, lamb, a sheep. Come on, you know that's the weakest animal there is. Why we don't eat of dominant animals like a lion chop, some elephant meat? Eat of dominant animals.
Now that's when it goes back to saying that mother is saying this. She's in her 5th chakra now. She's in her throat.
That's why I'm here.
So what that is saying about the meat eating, right, is that we were in the age of iron. See? We're in the Bronze Age now. That's why the vegan movement came about, because mother is saying enough of the killing. See? No more killing. You're not down in your 3rd chakra. You're supposed to be up in your 5th, and you're about this much away from the crown. Yeah. So now, let's stop the eating of the meat, because that's the killing. So you're supposed to be conscious now, because we're in a new age. So then that means that those who did not stop the killing or the eating of carnivorous, they're in the lower chakra. And once again, mother's moving on. And if you don't keep up with mother, well, you get left.
That's the part. You went to the concept, another concept I said on Facebook years ago about a cheetah and about the animals in the jungle. You know how women say, oh, I want a lion, I need a dominant nigga, I need this and that. Well, last time I checked, lions don't hunt. Right. The lioness go out and go get the bread and go come back and bring. And then after she go kill, spend all her time murdering this animal and bringing it back to her king, She don't eat until he take a bite. How much respect is that for the king? He ain't go lift a finger. But when them hyenas come to go kill them women, he jump right out. Ah, what's up? Get them right up out of there. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you pay for.
Well, that would be like chess. The woman,
I got another animal concept. One more.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the cheetah. I watch National Geographic like a motherfucker. Look at the cheetah.
I like it too. I enjoy it.
The cheetah raises her cubs, teach them how to hunt. But after they learn how to hunt and feed themselves, she leave when they sleep. So look at that concept to humans. You know how we say, get out, you 18, you graduated from high school, you 18. But what did you give him? Did you teach him how to hunt? Which meaning, did you teach him about credit? Did you teach him how to survive? Which meaning you taught him how to manage his money, get a bank account, get a trust fund? Did you teach him all of these things before you kicked him out into the world? See, the animals are smarter than us. Keep it a bean.
I'm not raising children. I'm raising adults.
Right.
You only spend 18 years per se as a child, and the average person lives to 70, 80 years, between 60 and 80 years old. So am I raising a child or an adult? I have to prepare you to leave home.
I'm raising a queen for a king. I'm raising a king for a queen. I teach my kids, if you're a woman, your boyfriend should be an extension of me. If you're my son, your girlfriend should be an extension of your mother. If you got anybody less than that, you shitting on yourself.
Well,
excuse my language.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you were finishing up a point, Mom.
Go back to your point. Yeah,
so finish up your point, and then after you finish up on your point, answer the question. What are your thoughts on death by water? So finish your point, and then answer what are your thoughts by death by water.
Somebody read me.
Yes,
they come up with that.
Okay, well, the point is simply that we're now in a new age. As Aquarius, and
we just left Pisces.
Right. So Pisces was the last sign.
That's Jesus, the fish.
Right, and also it's the last sign. So we're going backwards to the future, meaning that whatever your life was, it's going to reflect the same way. It's just going to look different. And here's now, so Aquarian means the water bearer, which means that the water that is being poured out is really spirit. So we should move away from religion, which is binding, into spirit, which is free. And to being able to see each other as we see ourselves.
Ethereal beings. We'll see
now, when you also
see our chakras.
Right, our reflection. Right. We should see each other as our reflection. Because then, just like with water, it's crystal clear. Now, in terms of, the sign of the Aquarius, it's an air sign, yes. But nevertheless, we're talking about pouring out of water. So we're talking definitely, this is a spiritual time. But Aquarius also says, I know, the same way the Christians in the Jesus era said, I believe in Jesus. So when you come with spirit, you have to know spirit. You have to trust spirit. Now is the time where you need to trust what you know. Because Mother has brought you this far, all the way up to the 5th chakra. So you need to speak what you know.
Yes, ma'am.
And it needs to come from the heart. And it needs to be spiritual, and it does not need to be divisive. It can't be color-based, race-based, or anything except based in love. And so it's also the techno, because when you hear the Aquarian says, I know, that's how you got the techno age, technology. Now, in reference to our parents, they came through the age, what we call the dark age. Even Martin Luther King, that was dark ages, because that was the iron age, and iron is the meat-eating age. So that was a time for that. And that's why they say that there's a time for everything. Now is not the time to be eating it because of the time that we're living in with 5G. Mother is saying, if you continue to eat meat, my children.
We're not supposed to be eating the meats now
No, let me just say this. Let me finish now. Let me say this.
Okay, go ahead.
The reason for not eating the meat now is not because one says they're better than the other. It's simply, it's not the time because we're not at the stage, meaning that we're in a techno age and we will kill ourselves if we eat meat now because of all the toxins in the meat that will be in our body. We need the vegetation and the fruits to purge ourselves and to cleanse ourselves and to elevate our consciousness about what we're doing with our spirit, because that's the age that we're in. So we have to be conscious because this is a magical time where you create what you put out. This is the 8th. So that means the ancestors are with us, meaning that we're actually right now at a higher vibration because we're in the Bronze Age.
Well, that's 9. When you get into the highest vibration in numerology.
Okay, so the question, she said, what do I think about water, right? She said water passes away from water.
I'm letting y'all do y'all thing because it's time for somebody else to talk today instead of me to shut. But listen, I would like to say that for those of you that have taken my class, kudos to you. You are well prepared. You are well prepared for the age that we're entering right now. But those of you that have not taken my class, sucks to be you.
All right.
Email me at congoprincess@gmail.com. The class is $600. It was $300, and my followers and my students said I need to be charging more. So
I'm quick hand draw McGraw right there.
if you would like to take, matter of fact, there goes Shanlo right there, and Shan is the one that said that I need to up the cost on my class.
Yes, you do.
So my class is $600, and everything that EI is telling y'all right now, y'all had an opportunity to get ahead of the game. And if you did not, I'm going to be nice and still open this up to you to take the class because this is what you need right now. They're saying something, and I got it. I'm sitting quiet. I'm gonna salute the brother. I'm gonna salute the mother. And we speak differently. I move on vibration. I move with the universe. I move with the earth. They have a way to articulate the knowledge that I have naturally innate in my DNA that I've been trying to share with y'all. So if you didn't hear it when it was simple ABC, now y'all getting it on a higher level. So however you getting it, I hope that y'all taking this in and digesting.
Write it down.
Write it down.
Get a notepad. Write it down. Make your own Bible.
This live gonna be going in 24 hours. I'm gonna leave it on here right now. Oh, by the way, I'm posting all my lives on my YouTube page, so y'all go ahead and check that out. But y'all better get this information, get it now if you want to book your reading.
Follow me.
And take the classes. CongoPrincess@gmail.com to book your readings and your classes. Rizzy, tell me your at.
Real_talk_Rizzy. RIZZY.
And I would say that they could go to Healing Youth at Facebook for me. HEALING and youth, capital YOU.TH, because it's about healing youth.
See, I look at this age. Remember you were saying we're in the age, right?
Oh yeah, thoughts on death by water.
Oh yeah, go back to the death by water thing because I wanted to know that too.
Well, my thoughts on death by water, I would say that it has a lot to do with your life. And I learned from Mbele. Mbele told me something about your ancestors when they love you. They take you back. If you're traveling by water, you have to know who you are. So if you don't know who you are and you're asking the question about death by water, there's something you need to find out about who you are. Why you even pose the question? So you should be getting a reading with Mbele.
Big game. I read over like 1,200 books in my life. And some of them I committed, some of them to memory. That was like the hardest shit I ever did. But that's why I know a lot of things. That's why I was saying like the memory thing. Like when you went into the consciousness, when you start talking about consciousness, and then we link that to spiritual. All that's linked through the water. Through the
Right.
gas.
And see what I learned also is that, okay, I can't go near water in the deep because my mother loves me and she would take me back. So if you're asking questions about maybe why you don't go out to the ocean and swim,
Hell no.
it's something in you that tells you you should not do that. That you should not be near large bodies of water. It's better that you're by streams, and shallow water. but you have to first know. See, this is a spiritual time we're in. To know. See, Tech, know, Aquarius, I know. So
Aquarius,
there's no,
Libra, and Geminis, right? We're the air signs. I'm a Gemini.
Miss Lauren Hill, type your question. Type your question or put it in the question box and I'll answer it. Or whoever the question is posed.
Somebody said they died in December 29th.
2012.
I can attest to that because I died too. I got stabbed right in the middle of my head and poked my brain and all that when I was locked up when I was 15 in the Youth Study Center.
Well, if you'll take Mbele's class, you're going to learn a lot of secrets because I know some secrets too. And I'm going to share them with Mbele.
I got like...
Right now, there's not supposed to be any secrets because we're here now to help each other. This is ancestral time. And the golden age is lasting a long time for the other realms.
Right.
But everybody right now is getting
Egypt
ready.
had like 5 golden ages.
No, let me say this is very important. We need to know where we are right now on Earth. And that what dimension and what level of stage we're on. Because we're all in a stage because we are characters and we're acting. And the roles already have been cast. And just like when we were cast out the garden, you hear the word cast. Now we're doing broadcast and podcasting. So we're still actually, right, exactly. So we're cast out of the garden. And all we're here doing in our avatar state is making our way back. But consciously is the only way we're going to get back. So we're thinking, it's still mind games. And this is the end game right now. Right, what?
I agree with you.
Exactly. And this is the end game. I don't play too much video games, but I know that, and there's TV shows, but this is an end game because this is an 8. And according to the astrological lineup that we have right now, with the magnetic north pole moving very quickly, we need to pay attention to the stars because we are stars. And the fact that you were talking about gas right now, and when you're talking about gas, that means that we have to learn how to, since the brother says he's a welder, what we're needing to do is learn to turn our lead into gold, which is none other than our plasma. We are now using our water plasma, but as stars, we are gaseous. It is not other than gaseous plasma. We are stars here on Earth. And it's time the ancestors are saying, you are not children. Wake up. You are not children. You are going to be spanked because we are stars. And we are here grounded by the soles of our feet only and our hands. So therefore, when these poles shift, we had better be shifted into consciousness and cleansed out. Because when you say magnetic pole, if we have all of this lead and toxin in us, then all of that will exactly attract to it. So this is why it is incumbent upon us to fast and begin to know who we are and cleanse. Because this is an end game. This is the 8. And we're late.
And we need to get back in tune with the nature. Because if we were studying the sun, we will understand what we need for our bodies. We should
all be putting money together and go into the mountain right now. We should be all on the mountain because we'll be closer to the sun. And so all of the talking really is done. I applaud Mbele for even having the classes and still talking to those, you know, who need to be spoke to. But the ancestors are saying, you should have been there already. Mama said you should have kept up. So you really can only help those that are right there right now, who are ready to go. Like, you know, we've had many prophets come here as a black people.
In Africa right now. I got folks in Egypt. I got folks in Yemen. I got folks in Ghana. So I'm trying to get my family and get everybody at least
right.
Get up like
the thing is this, right? The reason why, yes,
Ludacris is a king now.
And
the
you
Kung
see,
Fu star Michael Jai White, he went back to Canada. He's a king. He has his own land. Turned $40 million.
This is the year of return, meaning that we're supposed to return to our conscious self now. We're not all there yet, but we're teenagers. So teenagers, because we're teenagers, we should be at a stage right now where, you know, you can get married. Because in our culture, you got married young because you were taught things.
Hold on, stick a pen because you'll not be forgetting stuff. Miss Lauren, that is, and I don't know if it's that girl is on here, but to break down what they're talking about with the mothers, the dream that you had is an offering that you need to make to the Iami, which are the supreme mothers. These are the ancient mothers. I like to describe them as, if y'all ever watched the movie Shaka Zulu, the old spooky lady with the long titties like mine, that's the EIME. So the oracle, me and my long titties. So the eggs, which you do, everybody, and this is gonna be the only time I say this. I'm about to give y'all jewels because half the jewels already written there. You boil 9 eggs, you de-shell them, and you get green banana, plantain, and you boil it, and you put it in the center of it. Another way you can do it is the 9 eggs, and you rub them with palm oil. You can put black eyed peas in the center of it. Another way you do it is get a chicken, gut it, and let the innards hang out, because the EIME eat the innards of the chicken. Another way you can do it is fry the innards of a chicken with palm oil until they're burnt crisp. Is another offering to the mothers. I have more. I'm only giving you all those 4. So
can I give them another health tip?
Nope. Wait a minute. And because I got to break this down. The feather. So when we do the ancestral parade, men are the ones that actually dress up like the ancestor, but it's the women folk, the Iagan, myself and Burger Baby are Iagan. We prepared the cloth for the masquerade of the ancestors. If you look at everything that's going on with the ancestral diaspora and worship and all that stuff like that, at the top of every costume, there is a bird and a feather, because we're going back to the mothers. We're going back to the EIME. So even though you see the men masquerading is at the top of everything, there is the woman. There is the crown. So thank you, Ms. Lauren, for that jewel, sharing your dream with us. I gave y'all 4 offers to do to the mothers. I suggest you do them. I suggest you take my class. I suggest you book a reading with me. I'm done plugging myself because they drop in science, and that's what this is about. It's not about me plugging. Science. It's about science. But again, as I've said to y'all time and time again, and I'm going to be a smart ass right now, y'all want to hear shit all the time the way they saying it. I don't talk like that. I talk straight to the point. This is what the ancestors said do. This is what the universe wants from you. That's simple, cut and dry. If y'all got to go through all of this to get to the root, to get to the base, to get to the foundation of what I'm doing, then you damn near halfway lost, and you needed this class. You needed this. And y'all need the Cash App to make a donation for them. I don't know what your Cash App is.
My Cash App is, the $RIZZY 83.
Yeah,
Kayusua. KHAIYUSHUA. Kai.
Y'all need to be Cash Apping them $2, $3, $4, $50, $60, whatever. Y'all need to Cash App them.
I'm gonna be looking
their wisdom and their time with you. Y'all should. And this is not about making money off of nothing. Get your ass out of here.
And we give you comedy with it too.
Right, y'all get
that's
comedy.
That's my twist. You know what I'm saying? Because I got the books in the crib.
So I'm going to give a real fact then. Since they want to know something, you want a real fact then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's something. For those that sleep 1 o'clock in the afternoon, right? That's the same thing as when people right now who are not spiritual, they're sleeping like those who sleep until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's the same thing as when you say, well, I worked all week. I want to rest on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Well, if you worked all week, you don't have no right sleeping until 1 o'clock in the afternoon, because that means you didn't work no spiritual work for yourself. So that's why you're late, because you work all week and then you turn around and rest on the weekend and say, I need to rest because why? I'm going back to the job. You never do the spiritual work. Meanwhile, you have a president who is working consistently and getting what he calls a shuttle, because he has a what?
He got an agenda.
A space force. Why would we need a space force, a space military, if we're not in space right now?
Earth sits in space. I keep telling people that.
So that means right now we are spiritual. You see, this president, everybody is talking about, they don't like him. Well, you need to love him, because really, the reason why I say you need to love him, because he's saying, look, y'all are free. I do what I want to do. That's y'all who don't want to do what you want to do. He didn't. Wait, hold on. He didn't. 1 second. He didn't pay his taxes. He didn't pay his taxes, and he didn't show him. So that's sovereign right there. That's sovereign. That's somebody who's saying, I'm sovereign. Number two, wait, 1 second. 1 second now. The next thing is that if we were not in space right now, why would he have a space military? And therefore, when he also says, I want to colonize Mars, it also says that they also have the ability to go back in time because the poles are shifting of consciousness, and they know that they can move back into their avatar and know what they know now to colonize the people who are going back in time. You see, we're moving to the Bronze Age, but those on Mars would be going backwards, where we just left, the Iron Age.
Money,
so by them going to, because we're all time travelers, we are all time travelers. And we know, let me just say this thought and I'm going to finish, because we are all time travelers here. And we know we are the ancestors. And we know what we're supposed to be doing right now, because we've been here before. And we also had what we call the fall of Atlantis, because we didn't love. So right now, we don't have any excuses. So when it happens again, it's just now that we didn't shift into the consciousness. So now that's when you get the next root race, because the dimension now, it comes out. We get another dimension. We only have 4 dimensions. That's why we have 4 root races. You have the black race, you have the red race, the white race, and the yellow race. So now as the consciousness shifts, we're getting ready to get the blue race, because unless we love right now, well, we're going to get what we got, because we're doing the same thing. But meanwhile, let me just finish this here. That is why the president is going to leave. See, all of this war and things is a smoke screen. They're going to leave and go to backwards to colonize. That's going back on Mars. See, there already is life there, because Mars is none other than not that. It's a moon and they have a moon and a sun, the same way Earth has a moon and a sun. So he's going back because we're going forward. Let me just finish this one thing, because they can't stay here, because we're going not only forward, we're going black. See, because when you see that we're having all these struggles as a black race, is because we were the first root race. So we're the farthest from the center. So we've lost our heritage. But the next race, which was the Lemurians, they have the Indo-Asian, right? And the East Indians, they didn't intermingle and marry. So they stayed more pure. And that is why they have our science, because the Polarians who seeded them, they stayed in that. That's why they have such a deep medicine or sciences. They stayed with that. But the black people, see, because we were here the longest, we mixed around, and we're farther away. So now we're going back because the cycles are changing. So now, by the fact that we're going back, that's why I say we have to rise up now. And we had many prophets who we denied, that we didn't see, because the prophets that came to us were all singers. You see? Because we are waves. So when we are black, we absorb every single sound. Versus the other races, that's why they don't dance the same way, because they don't have the melanin that we have to absorb every sound. So what they did was trap us by the sounds that we heard. So now they know that this is our time. And the prophets that came, we didn't hear them, but they were singing. And everybody dies at the time that they're supposed to, because they came here with that experience that they agreed upon. Now, how do we know this? Let's just look at Martin Luther King, born January 16th. I'm
using up a lot of the time.
Huh?
Using up a lot of the time. I'm trying to get the point.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll be very quick.
Where the black and the Saturn and all that, and Mars and all
okay,
that.
Well, I'll yield. I'll yield time. I yield.
No, go ahead.
Finish that.
Finish your,
okay, so what I was going to simply say is that all the prophets that came, right, or what we're calling people, were just energies. And when we talk about, now we're celebrating Martin Luther King, he's born on the 15th, which is a 6th. So he came with the love. But at the same time, if you look at being born January 15th, which is a 7, he was spiritual. So that was 7. Then he turned around and was a pastor as well. So that is also the 7 energy. But his life path was a 10-1. So he was also the pastor, which means he was a business owner, CEO, which is 1, which is meaning that a corporation, his own thing. And he died alone. He was alone, the 1. And he 1, like the sun, he also shined. So when you look at that, saying Martin Luther King, we have to stop calling these names out. We have to say, well, what was the energy that came to us to help us? Because when you see that his energy and how he left, that is exactly what nature ruled. And we're all nature and we're ruling something. So Mbele is here because she is to rule what she is right now. See, we call her Mbele, but it's the energy that nature or our creator wants to make this world have homeostasis. When you look at Michael Jackson, the way he died, okay? Well, if you look at when he came as a prophet singing, we are the world, we are the future, we are the ones to make a brighter. He's telling you something. So then he also say, they don't really care about us. That was ancestral. When you look at Whitney Houston singing again, but they're ringing the bell for us to wake up, wake up. I believe the children are the future. Teach them well and let them lead the way.
Now,
then you hear Bob Marley say, Exodus, meaning get out, get out.
But when he's
So
saying
these
get
are
out,
prophets.
he's saying go back to your roots, where you're from. You're not going to get
Yes,
your
roots
in
and
America.
culture, people. You see, so
What
we
Marcus
have many
What
prophets
Marcus
come.
Garvey say? He's Jamaican. What Marcus Garvey say? He started the biggest star line in the world. He had 15 million followers. Marcus Garvey said he will never trade a continent for an island. I'm an African. He didn't say he's a human. That deals with race. And this is why I wanted to tell you about the race thing. Because race means competition. Means to an end. We are not a race. If we exist forever, eternity, the eight, we are not a race. That's why I said I disagree with you on the race thing. Races are people who are trying to compete for a top spot. And who are doing that? Greco-Romans, the Greeks, Italians, British, Europeans, Asians, Turks, Palestinians. They fighting in Israel right now.
Yes.
Libyans. All these people, they're fighting for a top spot on what though? On the pyramid. If you would look and see how a pyramid is built, it's not my folks live in Egypt right now. A pyramid is not a pyramid. It's a diamond. And that's why when you was talking about the stars, I was talking about tetrahedrons. You know that word we couldn't say in fucking school? Nano diamonds. That's what a tetrahedron is. That's what we are. That's why our eyes are made out of quartz and it refracts light.
Right.
So your eyes.
And that's why the song you're singing, shine bright like a diamond.
Hold on, I ain't finished.
Y'all finished. Two things. I need my charger because I'm on 10%, and I'm gonna give y'all a fair chance at one more hour because I know y'all gonna probably shit yourselves if I cut this off right now. So I'm gonna go and get my charger. I'm gonna hold my phone. I'm gonna give y'all 60 more minutes, and then we're done.
I like her. We need her on the podcast.
She need to bring her ass to the house, but when she pop up my house, but that's what we gotta talk about anyway. We gonna talk because I got the jewels. All right, yeah. Give me 4 minutes. I'm gonna get my charger and plug up. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right, darling.
Plug it in.